Delighted to say that joining us for the full-length opposition view tonight is Will from the Talk of the Trinity podcast. Big Villa fan, of course. Will, it's great to have you with us for the first time. Thanks so much for joining us on the We Are West Ham podcast. Aston Villa, 13th in the league, 3 games, 1 victory against Everton, which I don't know if that really counts. But certainly you've had a better start to the season than West Ham have, ahead of the first claret and blue derby of the campaign. In fact, the only one we're going to have this season now. Burnley are gone on Sunday at Villa Park. Great to have you with us, mate. Thoughts on Villa's start to the season?
Well, first of all, cheers for having us on the show. Much appreciated. I think you probably summed it up, the win against Everton. Does that really count with how poor Everton have been recently? I'm sure Everton fans won't like me saying that. It's a season that hasn't gone as we thought it would. There was a lot of optimism during pre-season, especially with the signings that we brought in, and with the players that we'd already got at our disposal, thinking, actually, we could push on here. But the game against Bournemouth really just set off the Villa Twitter fans into a negative downward spiral, really.
Just remind us, mate, of the results you've had so far then.
So we lost 2-0 to Bournemouth on the opening day, conceding in the first minute of that one. We then beat Everton 2-1 at home, though nearly threw that away. And then Crystal Palace went and smashed us 3-1 at the weekend. So we got 3 points at least,
Yeah, well, that's, mate, you've got to take that, I guess, haven't you? But look, I mean, I will ask you that in a minute, because it sort of puts this game coming up. I'll be honest, I'm not saying it because you're on. Villa are one of my favourite football teams in the Premier League. I love the stadium. I love the fans. The atmosphere is always good. You always travel away well. I always enjoy going there. I think it does help that you're one of those teams in my head that I always feel like we beat. But aside from all that, genuinely, I love Villa as a club. Anyone I know who supports Villa, just a good person. So I've got a 100%. They'll be right up there with my favourite teams other than West Ham in the Premier League. And I always look forward to the games for that reason. And like I say, because it does seem like I'm never too worried. We always seem to get reasonable results against you. But it just feels like there's a lot of pressure on this game already because of the starts we've both had, which seems weird, but it's just the nature of football, doesn't it? Only 3 games in. Before we get on to that, well, Steven Gerrard, talk to me. Obviously not a great record. I think you'll probably know better than I will. Someone gave me a stat earlier on about his managerial record. I can't actually, maybe being the same as Benitez is at Everton. I might have got that wrong, so I'm not going to go into that. But just talk to me about Gerrard.
I know that there's the record going around at the moment that he's got a worse win percentage than Tim Sherwood and also Gary Neville at Valencia as well.
And that was the one I heard, Neville at Valencia. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's doing the rounds at the moment. I mean, it's one of those. When we started with him, he had a plan of what he wanted to do. He wanted us to be a very possession-based team and to create chances that way and win. However, our best performances have been when we haven't had much of the ball and we've had to counter-attack teams. He hasn't quite settled on his formation yet, though the 4-3-1-2 seems to be the best one. Though the good thing about Gerrard is he's attracting some names into us. And I think signings that we've made this season, most teams in the Premier League, apart from like the elite ones, would like those players in their squad or at their disposal. Diego Carlos, Kamara. It just doesn't quite click yet for him. He needs to find the right formation, and then consistency. We're just not very consistent at the moment. And for a team like West Ham, who obviously haven't had the greatest of starts, the
worst start in 51 years actually. So pretty bad.
Well, I mean, Man United have done worse so far, haven't they?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, hopefully they get tonked tonight. But yeah, go on.
It's one of those where you should be licking your lips ahead of Sunday, because it's the type of game, as a Villa fan, when we play a team who haven't won for a while, that team will always beat us. But
of course. Yeah.
When we play a team who are on a great run, like Southampton last year, they came to Villa Park and we spanked them 4-0.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's one of those. And I think from my recollection of Villa West Ham is a little bit different to yours. It always seems to be we just trade results. You'll have a few seasons where you win a few. We'll have a few seasons where we win a few. There'll be a few 2-2s thrown in there as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there also be lots of goals. Like we either win 4-0 or lose 4-0. It's like no in between. Or like you say, or it's 4-4. Yeah.
I mean, you've had the better of us the last couple of years, but you've done really well the last few seasons, haven't you? I mean, 4-1 at Villa Park last year. I went to that one. In my days, it was a Halloween horror show.
Yeah. Jesse Lingard show, wasn't
it? Yeah, and I think last year with Ben Johnson scoring straight away, Lanzini, Declan Rice destroyed us.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can do a bit better this year.
Yeah. Well, look, it's an interesting one with Gerrard, isn't it? So are you just quickly then, or briefly? Are you sort of sticking with him for now? You're sort of happy?
I would. I think he's got the name to bring the players in. I think we need to bring in 2 more players. We need a centre back to replace Carlos. We need an attacker. It doesn't look like we're getting Sarr from Watford anymore. But you've got to give him 10 games. You can't sack a manager after 3. And who are you going to get?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, I think same sort of noises from us about David Moyes on the podcast tonight, really. Or this morning when we recorded the rest of it. Yeah, just exactly what you're saying. No need to rush. Like, just give him a bit of time. You mentioned Diego Carlos there. You've had a similar situation, bit of unfortunate luck as we've had with signing a big name centre half for big money, as we did with Naif Aguerd, and he gets injured. Was yours in pre-season? Aguerd was pre-season, or did he play?
No, last few minutes against Everton, just his Achilles just popped, and that was
that's him. It's just bad luck, isn't it? I mean, what do you make of? Obviously, you got Tyrone Mings in there as well. An interesting situation, that bold decision. I'm sure you spoke about it loads already. What have you made of that? Because I personally admire it. I think fair enough to Gerrard, and I admire that about Arteta as well, going in and making a few big calls. That's what they're there for, not scared to do it. But interested to hear what you think about the decision and about whether it was, Mings himself and sort of everything around it, really.
I mean, I'd have kept Mings as captain, to be honest. We're a much better team when Mings plays. Funny enough, the 4-1 where you beat us last year, Mings started on the bench and we looked ropey as hell. When he doesn't play, we look unorganised as a leader. He doesn't get all of the, the positive fan reaction that he probably should do. He's a very good player. He does make mistakes as well. If it hadn't been Mings, I would have gone for Emi Martinez. Emi Martinez, a goalkeeper who's just really won the Copa America, one of the better goalies in the league as well. John McGinn, I'm not surprised. Gerrard was a midfielder. Fair play to him coming in now and stamping, his own mark on the club and what he wants to do. Time will tell, won't it? But I'd have stuck with Mings, and I think Mings really needs to be one of the first names on our team sheet. Not all Villa fans think that, but
no. So I'd say it seems fairly. I've heard, not loads, but people going, yeah, fair enough. I understand it makes sense. What do you think the thinking behind it was, though? Gerrard said it's to improve his game. Do you sort of understand why he's gone that route?
Maybe take the pressure off him as captain, so he can focus on not making as many mistakes. I think last year, or over the last few seasons, he's made 4 mistakes that have directly led to goals, which obviously is worrying. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're letting 60 goals in the season, what's 4?
Sure. Yeah.
I think for me, I'd have concentrated more on getting in a better defensive mid, a better centre-back partner and a better left-back, which we have done since January. And
target going, wasn't it?
Yeah, we've upgraded in Luka Din, I like to think. And Boubacar Kamara looks a class above as well in defence.
Really, yeah.
But we'll see,
Well, listen, look, I'm looking ahead to the game. Chatting to Nigel Rio-Coker tomorrow, not for the podcast for work, but obviously central midfield player for West Ham. After West Ham, he played the second most amount of games in his career for Villa, captained both of our teams, of course. And I'm going to be chatting to him about the captain stuff, but that central midfield battle, you mentioned Kamara there. John McGinn is a player I've always liked. I'd love him on my team. Just gets about a bit. But then Declan Rice, Thomas Souček getting a bit of flack at the moment. Form hasn't been great after an excellent first season. chat about, maybe that game's won and lost in that central midfield area. You've been going with the 3 with Jacob Ramsey. What do you make of that what do you make of that notion that that's where it's going to be won and lost?
I can agree with that. I think you're right. Souček is a very good player, isn't he? Chips in with the odd goal. Didn't score too many towards the end of last season, if I remember rightly, but always seeing goals. Declan Rice, absolute quality player for me. Should be the England captain. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think he's fantastic. He's one of the centre mids in the league. You'll overpower us with those 2 if we stick with the 3 that we have been. Boubacar Kamara is a fantastic defensive midfielder, but he's the type of one who would drop into the back 3. Though he's very good on the ball, very good at passing. Jacob Ramsey has been one of our better centre mids, but he needs a rest. And John McGinn, there's probably a few Villa fans who would sell him at the moment, to be honest.
Really?
He hasn't been on form. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Oh, mate. Yeah. I mean, him and Ramsey are both very box to box, and we need more of a 10 and an 8 in midfield. So there's a few fans there. He isn't, whether that's because of his contract, I don't know. We may see a change to the centre midfield, but I think the one is Buendia or Coutinho. If they're getting in there and floating, and then Rice or Souček have got to pick them up, it could cause you problems. But at the same time, if you're playing with 3 behind the striker, Boubacar Kamara is going to have a lot of picking up of an attacking midfielder to do,
Yeah, sure. So, just sort of looking forward to the game style-wise then, Will. What can you see? How do you see the game playing out from a style perspective?
I think from a Villa point of view, we'll be looking to get onto the front foot straight away, get the crowd behind us, especially Gerrard at the moment feeling a bit of pressure. He'll want us to get an early goal. So I'd imagine that you'll sit back a little bit, but then take control of the game as it goes on. We'll play with our 4-3-1-2, trying to get our fullbacks to bomb on. Matty Cash and Luca Dean being our main attacking outlets, really. Though, who starts for us is anybody's guess at the moment, really.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Ings and Watkins up front, 2 against 4. I always think you're better off having 2 strikers if you can, especially when it's 2
and they're decent ones to have, aren't they?
Exactly. But saying that, with Benrahma, with Bowen, with the likes of a Lanzini or a Fornells behind Antonio or Scamacca, I imagine you'll cause us no end of problems across our back.
I haven't scored yet this season, mate, so I'd like to agree. But
it's a perfect game for you.
Yeah, that is true.
It's one of them.
True. Well, listen, Will, it's been absolutely brilliant having you on the podcast, mate. We appreciate your time. As we always do, before we let you go, just give us a score prediction then. Sunday afternoon, Villa Park, West Ham United versus Aston Villa.
I've got to go with the Villa. I'm going to go 2-1. I'm just going to cross my fingers until full time on Sunday and hope that you don't turn your season around just yet. But I hope you do, and I hope you have a good season.
Yeah. Happy days, mate. Well, the feeling's mutual, of course, after the weekend. Always like to see the Villa doing well. Always great to chat to you on the show, mate. Appreciate you coming on. And yeah, so obviously not good luck for the weekend, but best of luck for the rest of the season.